everybody, welcome to another episode. Today we are going to be talking about solar panels like the ones right behind me. But before we get to that, today is a very special day. 45 years ago, 1974, August 9th. I know what you're thinking. That was the day that Nixon resigned. And that is a very special day. But that's not the most important thing that happened that day. The most important thing that happened that day, this one right here. That's her birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday, babe.
Thank you.
Now, I know it's not August 9th when you're watching this, but it is when we're recording it. So, today we're going to talk about, this week we're going to talk about solar panels. Now, we're standing behind our garage in the dog kennel.
Yes.
This is where the dogs do their thing. And when we're gone during the day, this is where the dogs are at, and they have a little doggy door behind us. They go in their kennel to get warm. So, last year we added these solar panels for a couple of reasons. Number one, they give the dog space to be dry.
Yes.
But not dry enough. We've noticed.
Because one of our dogs does not like to be out in the weather unless it's 100 degrees out. The other one likes to be all wet and muddy. So.
Right. So we need to add some solar panels to this to make it a little bit longer. But we wouldn't just be doing that. We just put a roof on. But the other thing is we've noticed during the winter, we put these on last summer. During the winter, we didn't quite have the amount of collection we needed. So, and we're going to talk a little bit about collection and charging and distribution. We're going to talk about all that stuff for actually 2 weeks. This week we're going to put new solar panels up. Next week we're going to rewire all the stuff inside the garage that runs all the power in the garage. So we're adding twice the number of solar panels. We're going to double our production. These are all 100 watt panels. This array generates 400 watts, which is more than enough to power the garage. Unfortunately, not enough in the winter. In the winter, we have shorter days, a lot more rain, and so we're going to double it to 800, and that should give us enough to cover the dog's needs. Yeah.
Because the Chihuahua wants her bed heater to be nice and warm, and when it goes off, she's not happy.
Yeah, she has a bed heater in there, and we charge all of our power tools in there. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff, and I wouldn't mind adding a little more capacity. The reason, what you might be asking is, well, why not just hook the garage to the house? Exactly. And it used to be hooked to the house, dangerously so.
Yes.
And so there was, when we moved in, someone had run Romax, which is indoor in-wall cable, and it was about to catch the house on fire. It was so bad. We took it off. Yeah. And so we decided, instead of trying to dig underground or run a whole new line correctly, it would just be cheaper and easier to put solar panels.
Make the garage independent.
Exactly, make it totally independent. Yep. So the garage is totally off grid. We don't charge any grid voltages. So something you might want to think about, if you have a garage or a detached building, maybe a greenhouse, you want to put power in, but you don't want to run power to it, it's a great solution.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about all that this week. You're going to see us put the panels up. What else we got? Because we got a party. It's your birthday. What are we doing?
My birthday. Well, there's the classic car show.
What's it called now? It's not called Rock Around the Block, is it?
Cruise Around the Block or something. It's in downtown Gresham. And then we're going to go downtown Portland and walk around the Pearl District. There's a walk from some books by Laura Foster that I really want to take. And go eat down in the Pearl District.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll be back putting some solar panels in and partying for Danielle's birthday. Okay, so first things first, when we put these solar panels in, we kind of just put them in temporarily. I put this pole across here that goes to the fence, and the panels are mostly being held up by the fence, which has served us well, but we're going to add twice the weight, and it's also going to be lower, so the fence isn't going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to install two uprights that are cemented into the ground. And what I was thinking for this, I've got some extra wood here in the over in the wood pile, but I also have a really large pole, and I'm not exactly sure where we got it from. I think it was from a volleyball net or something like that, but that pole right there, I'm going to cut that in half. We're going to bury those in the ground, fill them with concrete, and then I'm going to make facades around the poles so it looks like the raised beds and the garden shed. So I'm going to get to cutting that pole, digging some holes, and pouring some concrete. project where you're putting poles in the ground like fences or making like a lean-to like we are, a roof, one trick I've learned is don't mix the concrete. Just put the poles in the ground, set them the right height, make sure they're level, and then pour the concrete in dry. And then you can level them again before the concrete starts to set, and then pour water on top of the concrete, and the water will just seep into the concrete and automatically set. It's just a much more efficient way of putting poles in the ground. Cut some these little blocks here, and we're going to use these to attach our facade pieces to the poles. Basically just need to drill 1.5 inch hole through those. So we'll put those on, and then we'll put them on the poles. Okay, so we've got our first facade pieces on, or well, they're kind of like the holders for the facade. This is what we're going to attach the facade to. There's one on the top, there's one on the bottom. That'll kind of give it a square shape, or put some panels on the outside of it. I'm going to stop right now because it's starting to rain, and you know, it's August in Portland, and we get rain. That's just how it is. And I'm running a little short on time. We're going to go into the Rock Around the Block, or whatever they call it now, car show. So we'll see you there. What do you got?
I got
Walk us through it.
beer, like cozies that snap on.
Oh, that's good.
I got a ninja shooter, a piece of paper for writing down a map.
Gotta show us.
And a water bottle.
Wow. If there's free things, Ben will find it.
Yes.
So Rock Around the Block was not quite what we have had in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Not nearly as many people, right?
Yeah, it was overcast, so I'm thinking a lot of the super classics or the convertibles didn't even bother coming out today.
But there were some cool cars. There was a Fisker, which is a very nice, very expensive electric car. I like that. That was my favorite.
Solar panels on the top.
Solar panels on the roof. But right now we are at Union Station. You can see there.
Downtown Portland.
Downtown Portland. We're about to start our walk. And what did you learn about the sign up there?
That the go-by train was not original.
Oh.
The Union Station was built in, hold on, let me get my handy book out here. 1886,
oh, wow.
1896.
Like steam power trains.
Yes, and that sign went up in 1948. It went dark in 71 and then was restored in 85, and it still works.
There you go. All right, well, we're gonna hit our walk. That's never a good sign. The one good thing though is our car is quite a ways away, so if we purchase something here, it probably won't be that big. Hopefully not. So it was a good walk?
That was a great walk. We actually pretty much finished it.
We did, yeah. And there was a lot of really great stuff to see on that walk. Dinner was really good. Where did we eat at?
Brix Tavern, B-R-I-X. It was very good.
You had the calamari.
Yes, it was awesome.
I had the
Polenta, mushrooms and polenta.
Sounds so fancy.
Yes, Annie had a rustic gourmet grilled cheese
with bacon.
Bacon, tomato, basil soup. It was so good.
Ben had the corn dogs.
Yes.
So we're gonna head back after our walk. We're gonna get working on the support for our solar panels, and we'll see you back at the house.
Yep.
Ben, you want to start it? Happy birthday to you.
It's your birthday, it's your birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Another big year is finally here. Happy birthday to you.
This is keto, right?
Guys, this is
Oh,
Nice.
please. They're gonna kill me, bro.
This is why I cook my own birthday cake.
It's a bit of advice for you, younger people. Maybe if you're older than us, you know this, but this is the correct way to do your birthday. Day after your birthday, what's for breakfast?
Cake.
Yeah.
But it's keto cake, so it's super healthy for you.
Okay. Well, yesterday I was going to finish building the upright for the lower side of the lean-to, but that didn't happen because as soon as we got done with our walk yesterday, we came home and it just started dumping rain. So I know that probably is a little odd in most parts of the country, but in Oregon, even in August, the middle of August, it's not that unusual. So I've got my uprights. I want to put the top bar across, and then I'm gonna start cutting the facade pieces for the side, and then we'll start working on putting some solar panels on. Now I've got all my facade pieces cut. I cut some 2x6s and 2x4s. The 2x6s are going to fit on this side and the 2x4s are going to go on the inside, and that way it's a nice square piece. I need to measure each one of these. I made sure they're all at least a couple inches bigger than they need to be, grabbing wood out of the scrap pile. So I need to measure them to get them the right size. But I also want to make sure that they're not sitting right on the ground because I don't want them to rot. I'm going to stain these eventually, but I don't want them to get into the dirt and that'll start rotting them. And so what I've done is I've put a board underneath each of these and set them on that that board right there. And that board's 1 inch thick, and so it'll keep it an inch off the ground. Now you won't see it because we're going to fill all of this back up with the bark dust, and so that'll just go in that little gap. You'll never know it's there, but it'll keep the boards from rotting at the bottom. So we've got our lower support done. Now it's time to take the panels off and get the upper support on the garage done so we can run our stringers from the garage down to the lower support. Now, one point of caution, anytime you're working on a solar system that's already established like this one, you have to disconnect any load that you have whatsoever because before you disconnect the panels, because we need to pull those panels off. If you don't do that, it can cause a fire. It can start a fire, so you want to be very careful with that. So we'll show you how to do it on our system. We'll head in the garage and do that now. Our project next week is going to be to redo all this wiring because it's pretty messy. Everything here works, it's just not really well laid out. Anytime you have an off-grid system, or well, any electrical system for that matter, you want it to look nice and clean. So we're going to remove all of this stuff, put it back together, but for right now our number one concern is getting our solar panels disconnected. They come in here on the MMPT where it says PV, that stands for photovoltaic. That's what the solar cells are. They're photovoltaic cells. Sure that anything else that's drawing any electricity off this is disconnected. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this guy right here first. That's my load. And once I've disconnected that, and I have and my battery as well, because this could be charging my batteries. Once I've disconnected those two, and I'm going to cap them off when I do it so nothing sparks or arcs. Once I've disconnected those two, then I can disconnect my solar panels. But anytime you're doing work on solar panels, you should either have a solar shutoff, which we don't have. You only need it on larger systems, or you need to disconnect everything that's pulling power from that solar panel and then disconnect the solar panel so that you're not going to potentially cause fire. With first wire, which is the load, and this one actually I don't have to cap because I have it run into a terminal lock, so I can just remove it from the terminal lock. So that makes that part really easy. So I'm just going to pull this guy off here. Okay, so now I can easily take, oops, need a smaller screwdriver. Now I can take this off without having to worry about anything. And we'll just set this cable off to the side. Now I'm going to disconnect from the MMPT the battery. I'm going to start with the anode, or the positive side first, that carries the charge. I might have a little spark here, but it's not a big deal. It's 24 volts, so it's not going to cause any big problems here. Just loosen this guy, pull him straight out. I wire nut on, and then also I just like to make sure that's actually pretty tight. But I usually like to, on something that has a load like that, just wrap electrical tape to be sure that wire knot's not coming off. Now we'll take the negative rail off, battery here, and we'll also cap it. Now that we've got battery disconnected, we should be pulling zero load other than just to power this MMPT here, so that's very little. So when we get a disconnect, again, you might see a little spark. It's not going to be a lot. We'll do the same order. We're going to move the positive and then the negative. Off. And we'll cut that one. Now we got all that done, we can safely remove our solar panels. We have the old array down, and we're getting ready to measure out the new array, which will be using the old array plus 4 more panels. The panel sizes are 26 by 40, and we're going to run them 40 long this way, so I need a total of 80 inches from the side of the house, for the side of the garage, pardon me, down to our lower support. So what I did is I took this board and I marked out 80 inches right here, and I set the board at 30 degrees. So in North America, 30 degrees is the optimal angle to have your solar panels facing. On our house, the roof pitch happens to be like really close to 30 degrees, so that works out really great. So I've set these here so that I can mark out, I need to make a bracket for down here and a bracket up there, and then I'll remove this, set the brackets, and then we'll cut stringers, 3 of them, to go across to support the panels. Now, you might be wondering, and we kind of touched on this before, like, why am I not putting the panels up on the roof? Why am I putting them out here? Well, obviously, the first reason is cover for the dogs so they have shade and they can get out of the rain. The other reason, and you want to think about this when you're installing solar panels, is what is the age of the roof? Now, it just so happens that the roof on our house was redone right before we moved in, which means that we should have about 25 to 30 years on that roof. This roof has not been done in a while. It's probably 20 years old, and in a couple of years we're probably going to have to redo it. So if you're putting solar panels up on your roof, you want to make sure that the solar panels don't outlast the roof, because you have to pull them all down. Solar panels last about 25 to 27 years, but they'll start to degrade around 25 years and you won't get the full output out of them. So it's important to understand that ratio between how old is my roof and or how long do I expect to have these solar panels on my roof, so you can kind of match the two up. Well, phase one of adding solar panels is done. We've got our solar panels put on the rack here. You can buy solar panel racking equipment however we chose to build our own. Solar panel racking equipment is not inexpensive, although it's very convenient. It goes together very quickly. I spent pretty much the whole day building this, but it can easily cost you half the price of the solar panels. So definitely win on cost here. Next week we are going to be rewiring our whole solar system inside the garage. We've got some big surprises, got some new equipment coming. That's going to be cool, right?
New toys.
New toys, yeah. Equipment,
sorry.
Yeah, you know.
Well, is that what my kitchen stuff is? It's
Absolutely.
New equipment?
For cooking, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I need to go shopping.
We had a good time celebrating your birthday, going downtown.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, it's always interesting to see, like, even though you've lived somewhere a long time, both of us lived in Portland pretty much our whole lives, but we keep finding places in town to go to, things that we haven't done before, and we like taking you along with us. So thanks for joining us again this week, and we want to just keep doing that, keep finding new and exciting things to do while continuing to learn how to live healthier and affordably and clean and simply. And we're glad you're with us on that journey. So make sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of these videos. Click that notification button, the little bell, and you'll get notified every time we have a new video. But for right now, saying goodnight.
From Urban Unplugged.
From Urban Unplugged.